Hey guys, could you just all help me out here? Help me out here a little. I wanted to post something on my Snapchat story, so could you all just smile? There, let me just put a cute filter. Okay, and it's posted. Okay, so let me tell you all a story. I spent all of last summer in India, where I didn't have access to the internet at all. Without internet, I had a great time with my cousins and my grandparents, but I lost contact with all my friends, and I lost all my Snapchat streaks as well. So for those of you who don't use Snapchat, it's basically an app where people chat through pictures. A Snapchat streak is a number that appears next to the name of a person with whom you share a snap or an image every 24 hours. And this number increases with the amount of days that you have sent a snap to one another. But if one of you forgets to send a snap or just doesn't send a snap at all within 24 hours, then you and your friend lose the streak, and you guys have to start over. Because a lot of Snapchat users maintain so many streaks, it's become easier for many of them to do this faster for every single day by just sending a plain black screen to all of the people they maintain streaks with. Now back to my story. So on the first day of school, I was very excited to meet everyone, especially my best friend whom I hadn't texted or seen in 2 months. But a few days into school, I started to realize that my best friend had another group of friends, and I felt like she didn't really want to talk to me anymore. And why did this happen? It was because we hadn't texted each other in 2 months, and she texted other people more than me, so they became her best friends. She was also kind of annoyed that I lost the 100-day snap streak that we had. At this point, I started to realize that our friendship was nothing but sending black screens to each other for 100 days just to keep a streak going. Let me give you an example of what our conversation looked like. So let's say on Sunday, I woke up and at around 10 a.m., I sent her this. And then a few hours went by and she opened my snap and she replied with this. And then the next day morning, I woke up and the first thing I did was check my phone, and I decided to reply with this. And then she probably got bored of our conversation, so she decided to change it up a little, and she replied with this. And this was basically the only conversation that we had for 100 days. I also started to realize that our past hangouts were only of us taking tons of pictures to post on Instagram and texting our other friends about just how much fun we were having. Instagram is another social media platform where people share photos and videos with their followers. The followers are the people who are able to view and like the photos of the people who post. So when I realized that my best friend and I spent so much time just clicking pictures and then choosing which one to post and then looking at how many likes each photo got, I was really shocked because even though we were together all this time, we really didn't know each other very well. So I did some research on this and I found out that I wasn't the only one, that there were other teens in a similar situation. An article by Business Insider said that streaks were a proof of friendship. Peter Santa Ana, an 18-year-old living in Honolulu, said, "If you lose your streak, you lose your friendship." Katie Clark, another teenager, told Business Insider, "On Snapchat, streaks develop a level of friendship between people. The longer your snap streak is, the better friends you are." And a fellow sophomore at DAA told me, "I have 21 streaks, but I only chat with a few of them on an everyday basis." After some more research, I came across an article by Virginia Tech University, wherein Shalini Mishra, the leader of the research team, said, "Even without active use, the presence of mobile technologies has the potential to divert individuals from face-to-face interactions, thereby undermining the depth and character of these connections." So after I was able to make sense of this completely, I was motivated to share my thoughts on meaningful and superficial relationships and how social media can really have a huge impact on friendships. Apps such as Snapchat and Instagram could be a great way to keep in touch with friends and family. But over-dependence on these could lead many people, especially teenagers, to unknowingly build relationships that are meaningless. Let me give you a few examples of superficial relationships. We have a 100-day streak together. We're best friends. We don't have a streak. We're not really that close. I've even heard stories where teens cry because a high-number streak was lost, or all of their streaks were lost. Sometimes, moving on from Snapchat, people want to be friends with a person only because the photos they post on Instagram are aesthetic, and not because of their overall personality, not because they're funny, sweet, kind, or smart. And I find this to be a very big problem. So why do people value texting so much? Why is it so addictive? And why is it considered better than talking? Texting releases a chemical in our body called dopamine. This is the pleasure chemical that makes us happier. There's the same chemical that is released in our body when we fall in love, according to Fisher et al. And this is why texting is so addictive and it gives us so much pleasure. Also, as Huffington Post writes, talking is considered an old folks thing by many teens, and texting is considered to be quicker and more efficient. And for these reasons, we tend to get addicted to texting and social media, which ruins our relationships and causes us to build superficial friendships instead of meaningful ones. Now, what do I mean when I say a meaningful relationship? It's basically a kind of bond that is very special. It's a kind of bond that you can share with only a few people, like your best friend or your really close friends. Now, I'll ask you some questions that I got from an online newspaper called Elite Daily. And if your answer is definitely a yes for all of these, then you and your friends definitely share a meaningful bond with one another. So here goes the questions. When you hang out, do you spend most of your time together doing something worthwhile or talking about something worthwhile? Do you feel comfortable asking them for help? And will they actually help? Do you talk to them frequently and not just a few times a year? Do you consider yourself to have a higher level of closeness with this person than you have with all of the other people you interact with? And lastly, is face-to-face interaction your main form of communication? If your answer was a no, or even a maybe, then here are some ways to make your relationship more meaningful. Way number 1, forget your phone to a hangout. Eliminate any excuses to bring your phone along. For example, meet at someone's house so communication doesn't become a problem. Bring a Polaroid camera with you with which you could take pictures so you don't have to use your phone. Use a landline at your friend's house to call your driver or your parents while picking you up. In this way, you'll actually be able to spend some quality time with your friends instead of your smartphone. Way number 2, if completely being off the phone is too hard, then take baby steps. Set a limited time for your phone when you're hanging out with your friends, and help each other out in this. Way number 3, engage yourselves in other activities like cooking or baking or going for a walk or jog together. Anything that doesn't involve your phone or any other social media apps. This will also help you and your friends make some memories together. Because imagine if the only memory of you and your friend being together was when both of you were on your phones. Way number 4, lose all of the streaks that you keep just for the sake of having a streak, rather than for the sake of friendship or conversation. Ask yourself if you really know the person with whom you have your highest streaks, and if you would like to know someone with whom you don't share a streak. And lastly, way number 5, get to know your friends better. And by knowing, I don't mean who stalk them on social media, or which angle they look best in while taking a photo, or at which time of the day they send streaks. I mean, that's good to know, but go beyond. Get to know their family better. Get to know their likes and dislikes, their favorite pastimes. Remember that these tips are the building blocks of a relationship, and they can't be done overnight. They take time to implement, and if you and your friends really commit to following them for at least a month or 2, then you'll definitely be able to get into a habit of following them thereafter, and hopefully be able to bring some depth to your relationship. Overall, it's completely okay to use apps such as Snapchat and Instagram, but if you get too attached to these, it could ruin your relationships, especially your friendships. By changing your habits now, you can stop social media from taking control over your life before it's too late. Thank you.